Broadcasting from Mr. Small's Theater, you are listening to Funny Money on the River's Edge Network. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Tom Henry, and with me here is Brian Crawford, the chairman, CEO, and president of the network. And
I like that title.
Yeah, it's pretty good, you know. Appropriate.
Yeah, thank you.
So... today I want to talk about something that you wouldn't know anything about, and that is payroll processing.
What are you trying to say?
I'm just teasing. So payroll processing, you know, it sounds really boring, but it's not boring when you get your paycheck. And not screwing it up is a good thing, you know. So these guys that we're going to be talking about are experts on trying to get it right.
So how do so many people mess it up? That's my question.
Yeah, I guess they don't outsource. I mean, people try to do it themselves, you know. They have people who, you know, they have those punch cards and stuff to take care of the hours.
Sure, yeah.
But really, once you have a certain amount of employees, I think it's better to outsource.
Well, it's funny, you mentioned about our payroll here at the network, and we were looking at this. Like, it's not like an incubator program, but it kind of guides businesses on their development, and you could skip certain steps if you've been around for over a year. And we've been around for over a year, so I asked for that paperwork, and one of the things that they asked was how many employees you have.
Yeah. Yes, of course.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but you have to answer according to how you file taxes.
Sure, yeah.
So... what did you say? Or you could say
like
yourself.
Two full-time employees, basically. Even though we don't get paid yet, we're working full-time.
Yeah, I guess, right. Yeah, you can say that because especially if you're an owner.
Yeah, and both of us are owners. So.
Right. Okay. Now, in this case, all right, I'm going to start off with the biggest one, the most well-known, and that's ADP. That's Automatic Data Processing. And
I've heard of them.
Yeah, they're a big company, and they run so many payrolls that they, in fact, come out with an unemployment number each quarter, like the government, and they tell you, you know, how many people are on the payrolls versus a quarter before that.
Okay.
All right. So I want to say my sources on this one. I borrowed heavily. I took heavily from a New York Times article that was an obituary of Henry Taub, and that was from April 4th, 2011 by Duff Wilson. And then I also used Wikipedia somewhat, and then I used Wall Street Journal, WSJ.com. Okay, so the guy who's really the most instrumental in ADP, Automatic Data Processing, is Henry Taub. Henry Taub was born in Paterson, New Jersey in 1927, the son of a junk dealer, and was raised in a working-class neighborhood there. Okay, now the son of a junk dealer came directly from this obituary. And I thought, is that like a little rude?
Yeah.
Like, is he like selling vacuum cleaners? And the guy's like, you know, that's
junk.
Yeah, he's a junk dealer. He's selling those vacuums. Or is he like actually, you know, now, I mean, I'm envisioning a guy sitting in a junkyard with an angry dog, you know, selling whatever, or like giving people license to go pick what they want for $5 or something like that, you know?
Maybe it's a friendly dog. Maybe they're bucking the stereotype, and it's a friendly dog that leads you through the path.
Friendly junkyard dog.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, it could be, I guess, right?
I don't know why.
Why it's got to be mean, I'm not sure either.
Yeah.
I guess, to protect it? But, okay, so the son of a junk dealer, even if it were a junkyard, you probably wouldn't call yourself that. I'm a junk dealer.
Yeah. Then again, you've got like those pickers, like they seem to like, I don't know, pride themselves on junk.
Oh, and there's dumpster divers who pride themselves on eating out of the dumpster.
That's true, and that's messed up.
That's a little much for me.
Yeah.
That's where I draw the line.
We were even talking about dishes. Okay, we have a station dilemma. Not to take us too far off track,
Yeah.
but do you clean dishes with cold water?
No.
No, never. That's unsanitary, right?
I think so.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
other people are saying it's okay. We're out of hot water, so I'm
Oh,
telling
yeah,
everybody,
yeah.
don't wash any of the dishes. We'll wash them when we get hot water.
Okay. That's what I always tell myself.
Yeah, it's the only way to go.
Okay, so, all right. So Henry Taub, born in 1927 in New Jersey to a junk dealer. All right. The streets were just filled with people and kids and debate and excitement. And from my point of view, intellectual fervor. I don't know what his accent would be like. He said in a 1996 interview with the New York Times. Okay, that's a direct quote from Henry. All right, so after skipping 2 grades in public school, Mr. Taub graduated from NYU with a degree in accounting in 3 years. Okay, so he skipped a year of college, too. So this guy's like, let me out into the world. And he's obviously super ambitious and, to skip 3 years, got to be pretty smart. So he graduated with a degree in accounting at age 19 and immediately joined an accounting practice. So then one time, a client, while he's at the accounting practice, comes up, and it's a clothing business. And they didn't issue paychecks for 1 week. Now, I laughed a little there because I had a Freudian slip of the pen and wrote 1 weed. But 1 week.
So he's paying them somehow, right?
He did not issue 1 weed.
Man, he's strict, man.
Because of an illness.
Jeez.
All right, he did not issue paychecks.
Thought it was supposed to chill you out, not,
I know, right? Because he was sick. All right, but it caused an employee walkout.
Sure.
So this guy's trying to do everything himself, and you can't be Superman because everyone has times when they can't make it to work at some point, Henry suddenly had an idea for a new business, payroll processing, so the idea is you go to someone else to do your payroll, and they have some better way of doing it, and they have accountants in-house to make sure it's done right. Okay? He shared the idea with his brother Joe, and the two set out to make it a reality. Starting in 1949 in an office above a Paterson, New Jersey ice cream parlor, and then in a hotel basement, you can see they were scrappy, Henry and his brother Joe built a company on a reputation for precision and timeliness. All right, those were 2 things that could be very much lacking when, an owner is struggling to do everything themselves and trying to do the payrolls as a side project. And you can imagine a lot of business owners, especially at that time, might not have even gone to high school, much less college. So you would expect inaccuracies to be somewhat frequent. Okay, so they called this new company that they had in the above the ice cream parlor and then the basement of the hotel. They called it Automatic Payrolls, Inc. And they're trying to say, automatic. It doesn't mean that there's machines doing it necessarily, but they can kind of give that impression. But that it's done automatically for you. You don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. What about these places that do pay the people, but they don't have enough money in the account to clear the checks?
Well, that's a whole other problem. That's a different one. Okay, that's got nothing to do with them. It's not their fault.
Sure.
All right. So they were joined in the early years of this business by an aspiring salesman who had been their childhood friend, Frank Lautenberg. Now, I don't know if you've ever heard that name before, but it's actually a somewhat famous name.
It does sound familiar.
Because he later became a senator for New Jersey and served for nearly 3 decades until he passed away in 2013. It was he served from 1982 to 2013, except for 2 years where Corzine served.
That's another name that sounds familiar.
John Corzine.
Well, was he involved in politics?
Yes.
Okay.
Right. Well, he was a senator from New Jersey during that time.
That's what I was thinking.
Well, Lautenberg was a senator from New Jersey for a very long time.
Okay.
And then this guy, but Corzine got into trouble. I remember he was, what the heck was it? I forget what he was doing. It was something with his company, some weird trades or something. Okay, so Lautenberg, he was this longtime Democratic senator from New Jersey. But before that, he made a ton of money at this company. And it was at that time called automatic payrolls. The idea, this is Lautenberg. Oh, yeah, I got to do his voice. The idea was not a brilliant idea. It was a good idea. But what we did in terms of hard work made it, Senator Lautenberg said in a 2011 interview. Lots of 7-day work weeks, lots of 12-hour days. Okay.
All right, this episode is worth it just to hear.
All right, Lautenberg probably doesn't talk exactly like that. All right, but I'm trying to be New Jersey.
I think it's great.
In 1952, and like kind of old school New Jersey, right? Because these guys.
Yeah, I love it. You know, there's a girl who I work with. She's from New York, and she kind of has that accent.
Has that? That. In 1957, the company changed its name to Automatic Data Processing, Inc. By that time, they were significantly larger and began using punch card machines, check printing machines, and mainframe computers. So then they were an automated automatic data processing company. Okay? And they went public then only a few years later, 1961. At that time, they had 300 clients, 125 employees, and revenue of $400,000. So that's pretty small, even for a company going public in 1961. Today, ADP, based in Roseland, New Jersey, has annual sales of more than $11 billion.
Wow.
And well over 550,000 clients, and is one of the world's largest providers of business services, all told. So that's a pretty big field. Before going public, it had been a shoestring operation. So this is like, just to give you an idea of what it was like when they were starting out again. That they, in the beginning when they had that, like above the ice cream parlor and in the basement, the two brothers had to deliver payrolls by bus, you know, because they didn't have a car.
Okay.
And they would clean their own office at night. You know, it was just, which was really rinky-dink. But now, through this, grinding away, hard work, they built this great company out of it. And I kind of agree with Lautenberg. It wasn't like some brilliant genius idea. It was a solid idea. You know, This is a need, and we're going to fulfill it. But there was competition. They weren't the only ones to have similar ideas. All right. The PE currently is 26.5, which strikes me as a lot for a company that's like this well established, this mature in its business. But we'll see what the rest of it says. Okay, so dividend 2.2%. That's a good dividend. Return on invested capital 26.42%. So very good return on invested capital. It's the same as the PE basically. So I say the ROIC, the return, because you're going to get a 26.42% return. Well, that's worth paying 26.5 times earnings. That's about what it should be worth. Okay, now it gets better. They have $1 billion in net cash, no debt, $1 billion in cash, which could be paid out as dividends, could be used for an acquisition, whatever. And earnings are expected to grow 14% in 2017. So, holding all things equal, I consider this a buy. It's not a strong buy because it's still, I'm really surprised with the 14% growth. But, it's not a strong buy because you're still buying a company where the PE and the ROIC are equal, which usually indicates to me that's like about a hold normally. But because they have net cash of $1 billion and they're expected to grow earnings 14%, that's what pushes me over the top to making it a buy. But it's not outrageous enough to be what I would say a strong buy. Okay, so I like it. I don't own it, and I'm not running out to buy it. But I do like it. It's right now it's selling at $102.76, and that's up from $72 in 2014. So you can see it has come. It's given a pretty good return over the last few years, and it has a market cap of $45.3 billion. That means that the market is saying this company is worth $45.3 billion.
All right.
So it's a pretty big company.
Nice.
Okay, so anyway,
they're
synopsis,
not,
it's a buy, not a strong buy. I like it. And Henry Taub was a very, very good entrepreneur to come up with this and do it, execute it.
And there's a chance that none of their checks will bounce.
There's a high likelihood none of the checks that ADP writes will bounce.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Now I'm going to cruise right into our next one, which is, a direct competitor. Couldn't be more of a direct competitor. It's Paychex. All right. The symbol for
Is that with an X?
yes,
That's
it
what
is
I thought.
with
Yeah.
an X.
See, look at me. I'm
Yeah,
on my
you know
game
it.
today. Yeah. See, I know a lot about I guess these payroll companies. I pay attention
Yeah.
to all that stuff. When I work for a place, I see where
Right,
things are coming
right.
from. Yeah.
I noticed that my paycheck just switched from Paychex to ADP.
Oh, okay. Well, downtown, this is something that's kind of interesting. A lot of the banks, the
Yeah.
infrastructure for the banking websites comes from a company called Fiserv, and they are located right downtown in Pittsburgh.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know if
I did not know that.
I don't know if that's their main headquarters, but I know
Yeah.
that they definitely have a presence down there.
Oh, that's cool.
So,
The
yeah.
things you don't know about our city.
Yeah.
All right, so Paychex, the symbol is PAYX. And to give you an idea of how that one did over the years, it in 2014 it was $42, and now it's $56.75. So pretty similar return as compared to ADP over the last 3 years. But this company is less than half the size of ADP. It's got a market cap of $20.4 billion. Now for this, my sources here, Wikipedia, WSJ.com, as usual. But also I leaned heavily and drew heavily from this article on workforce.com.
Wow, that's a new one.
Yeah, called Spare Him the Gurus. And that was written May 30th, 2003, or published then, by Andy Meisler.
Is he a miser?
Meisler.
Oh.
M-E-I-S-L-E-R.
Maybe he was a miser, and that's why he was writing.
He's
payroll
writing about
companies.
money.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Right. Whereas, yeah, he's super into payroll companies. 'Cause
Yes.
He wants every penny.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So, so with Paychex, we got to talk about there is, whereas with ADP, there was this good triumvirate that they had. With Henry Taub was the strategy guy, Joe Taub was the operations guy, and Frank Lautenberg was the salesman, the marketer. Okay, at Paychex, it's really, and that was kind of a triumvirate that ruled ADP. It's really a dictatorship. Mm-hmm. It's one power, one man with all the concentrated power. So Tom Golisano was born in Rochester, New York in 1941. Okay, so that, as you can see, 1941, what is that, 14 years after Henry Taub was born. Mm-hmm. Okay, Golisano grew up in Rochester and attended Alfred State College, which is part of SUNY, State University of New York, in Alfred, New York. He applied for entry-level jobs at Kodak and Xerox. If you don't know, they were both headquartered in Rochester. But Kodak, it's still a brand name, but the company, as I understand it, is no more.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Okay.
It's a brand name.
Yeah. So somebody
Bought
bought
by
the rights
someone
to
else.
the name.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So they were, at the time, the two largest employers in Rochester. Both companies rejected him for reasons that Golisano suspects, and this again is direct, this comes from the article. This is not my words. These are not my words.
Mm-hmm.
That Golisano suspects had something to do with the vowel at the end of his name. In other words, he thinks they were discriminating against Italians. Okay, so he got rejected. Well, maybe you think that, or rather than say, hey, maybe there was someone more qualified than me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But maybe he was discriminated against. I don't know. Okay, Gloria.
Everybody's discriminated against.
Yeah.
Wendy Bell, this guy.
Everybody at some point. Gloria Austin, his first wife and the mother of his 2 grown children, agrees. This is her. His parents were Italian immigrants. I'm sure that his rejection was part of his drive.
This needs to be a new thing in this show. This needs to be the new thing.
The quotes?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. His parents were Italian. Wait, all right. To do a woman, I am the worst. How about you? Can you do it?
All right, let me try.
All right, starting there.
This is great. This is like karaoke of quotes.
Yeah.
His parents were Italian immigrants.
That's pretty
I'm
good.
sure that his rejection was part of his drive to succeed. Anytime you face rejection, you're even more determined to get revenge, which is tremendously sweet. Tremendously sweet. I'm ad-libbing a little. It gives you the will to go on and do. Tom has got tremendous drive. He's extremely talented.
That was good. Extremely. I can see this like rich old woman.
So next time we need to for the
right.
video watchers we need to dress up for this. I think this needs to be a new thing. Yes.
Well, it's
The
kind of
quotes,
the other
yes.
that gave me that.
So we've got an idea that we may.
We'll incorporate more
relaunch.
quotes
Yes.
from now on and do the voices. All right. Okay. At age 30, Tom Golisano was working for Electronic Accounting Systems, a company that processed payrolls for big companies. Okay, so that's kind of like a company like ADP. He proposed to his boss at EAS that they take companies as clients that have fewer than 100 employees.
Mm-hmm.
All right. He was turned down flat. They saw that as a waste of time. So the next year, 1971, he quit, rented office space from his former employer, and started Paychecks. Then, as now, he used the selling point that many small business people are deathly afraid of running afoul of the government and or irate employees by miscalculating salaries, taxes, and other deductions while squeezing paycheck writing duties into their busy work days. He took responsibility for government penalties or lawsuits if his company made any mistakes. That is a good selling point,
Sure.
Hey, we'll pay your lawsuit.
We've got the money in the bank.
Right. That's how confident they were they weren't going to make a mistake. By the end of the 70s, Paychecks consisted of 18 partnerships and franchisees. So you can see the idea was a good one. It took off. Of course, it is more work when you have to take a bunch of small clients rather than one big one. But the margins typically are higher on that kind of business.
Okay.
Because people do have to pay a little more for that differentiation of service.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so one of the franchisees was Gloria Golisano, now Gloria Austin, who insisted on getting Paycheck's New York City franchise as part of their 1977 divorce settlement. It's like, I could see that. I want that one. It's like, son of a... It's like the best one,
Yeah.
At that point, Paychex had 6,000 clients. Okay, so pretty good there.
Yeah, it's doing well.
In 1983, Tom bought out everybody else, turning many into millionaires, and took the company public. Okay, so no more franchisees. He paid off even Gloria enough to sell.
Wow.
Okay.
That's got to be hard too, because if she's pissed, she's not going to, want to give him anything.
Well,
So-
right, yeah. But, maybe she's pissed and broke.
Yeah, maybe.
That's an okay combination. All right. In 1983, he bought out everyone and took the company public. Over the years, Paychex has branched into other areas, including employee benefits, workers' comp, and claim settlement. Today, Paychex does about $3.2 billion in annual sales. So you can compare that to annual sales of more than $11 billion at ADP. But $3.2 billion, and they have a nice niche. It's kind of the smaller, end of the or the smaller part of the company size spectrum, I suppose. Okay, so when you look underneath the hood of this company, I see the price to earnings, the PE, is 25.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Immediately, that strikes me as a lot. Like the other one was 26.5. So for this type of company, it strikes me as a lot, except that I would generally be willing to take a higher PE on Paychex versus ADP because Paychex is a smaller, generally faster growing company than ADP. It pays a sweeter dividend. It has a 3.53% dividend. Quite nice. And here's the huge selling point for me. Return on invested capital is 48.9%, way higher than the PE. So what that tells me is that this one is selling at quite a discount.
Uh-huh.
Not only that ROIC is just so high, it's almost 50% on its own, that tells me that this company is extremely well managed. You don't see a return on invested capital of 48.9% very often in any public company. So that high and a return on invested capital shows that the capital is being used by the management very effectively. Okay, they have no debt like ADP, and analysts expect earnings to grow 8% this year. Now, that's not as much as ADP, but this is just 1 year. On average, this company is a faster grower than ADP because ADP is more mature in its segment of the market.
Mm-hmm.
So I like this one. I've got to tell you, I own this stock. So
Okay.
full disclaimer.
So you really like it.
In fact, I just bought it today.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And
because of this information that you researched, or
yes, I wouldn't have looked at it otherwise. I don't think, or I don't know. I wanted to look at it because it was recommended to me by a newsletter I was reading. Oh, The Motley Fool. So yeah, you can. The Motley Fool is a pretty good resource, although some disagree. So
they say it's foolish to read?
yeah. They call the readers our fools.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
But they say the fool always wins or something. I don't know. They have some way of twisting it around. The fool is good somehow. So I really like this stock. I put my money where my mouth is. I like this one. Now is a good time to buy it. It does not look overvalued. It's one of those rare hidden gems of the market that looks like it's a really good buy, pays a nice dividend, and is something that you could buy and hold for quite a while. So again, to go over these two, ADP, I give it a buy, but it's only a mild buy. Paychex, I give it a strong buy, and I own it myself. Okay, I'm not saying buy it because I own it, but I'm telling you that I own it, and I just bought it today because I think it's that good. All right, and with that, I think we've covered all the bases. And the way that we say that here is we're all out of funny money. Thank you for listening.